What's up, guys? Welcome back to Among the Fence. I am your host, Aaron, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel where I do album reviews and we talk about all things we love or hate. And if you guys have an album you want me to review or a single, go ahead and leave a comment below letting me know what it is, and I will make it happen for you. But also, don't forget to click the subscribe button and ring the bell icon. That way you get notified when I do upload. That way you don't miss out on any reviews that you guys request. I'm getting a lot of people requesting reviews. I make the video for them, I upload it, and they don't see the review, which is kind of sad. And on today's album review, we're going to be checking out The Way It Ends by the band Currents. Currents started in about 2011. They are from Connecticut. This is their fourth studio album, and I believe they are kind of like a metalcore. Even in this album, I sense some deathcore elements to it. First off, I gotta say that The Way It Ends is a pretty unique sounding album. It's got a lot of originality to it. It's not something at least I've heard before. Mostly when it comes to the vocals and the vocal delivery and the vocal performance, like everything surrounding the vocals, it comes off being very like artistic in a way, kind of artsy, I guess, and very poetic. The opening song, Never There, sets the pacing and the tone for the whole album. It starts out pretty eerie and atmospheric, and then the drums and the vocals come in, and the vocal sounds like he's just screaming into the void, into the abyss. It's a pretty cool effect. And then when mixed with the drums and the rhythm, it just has this head bobbing rhythm to it. It's just on point. It's so sick. And the second song, A Flag to Wave, which I interpret it being about finding who you are and what you stand for, and just finding a flag to wave of your own. And the vocals in the verses are distorted and they're very real and they have this raw, hardcore feel to them. But the uniqueness comes in the chorus where there's clean singing. And nowadays it's very common for like metalcore bands and sometimes even deathcore bands to have distorted vocals in the verses and then just these high screaming soaring vocals in the choruses to make everything epic, and it's just all sounds the same. But this vocalist chooses to have a lower register tone in the choruses but clean, and it's just so different sound. It's not like that like extravagant or different, but it just is a cool, new, refreshing. It's just so much better. And in a way, since his vocals aren't like blatantly screaming, singing, and soaring, it brings him down and it makes it more real and almost personal, like he's just talking to you in a way, or like you're in the room with him and you're hearing him as if he's just singing this to you. And to me, it made it easier for me to connect to the lyrics and the vocals and just the whole song all together, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. My favorite song on the album, Kill the Ache, starts out with this pretty cool riff that has like this little boopy guitar melody going on in the background, and it works out pretty well with the clean vocals in the verse. The vocals don't sound very generic, which is really easy to do in this style of music, and the pacing and the delivery just sounds very purposely melodic. And then when you get to the chorus or the pre-chorus, they amp it up and the distorted vocals comes in and the song gets heavy again. And then when you get to the chorus, there's a good mixture of distorted and clean vocals that play really well on each other. And after the chorus, the beginning riff with the boopy kind of melody comes back and it adds to the epicness of the song. And then it goes into verse 2, which comes in heavy also, and it has distorted vocals in it and completely like throws you through a loop because you think they're just going to do clean vocals in the verses and dirty vocals in the chorus. It completely mixes the whole song up and it works so well. And the pacing for the vocals on this song and literally every single song on this album is just flawless. There's, like I said, it's like purposely melodic and they do it so well. The song directly after Kill the Ache, Let Me Leave, lyrically is kind of like a continuation of the narrative in Kill the Ache. And as far as vocals and song structure go, it's kind of the same, where it has clean vocals in the verse and distorted in the chorus and brings it heavy again in verse 2. But one thing that is unique that I don't know if they meant to do it, maybe I'm just thinking too much into it, is on the bridge, they bring back the same kind of screaming into the void feel that was in the first song, Never There. And I thought that was actually really cool that they brought that back. I'm not sure if it was on purpose, like I said, but it's something that I noticed. It was kind of like a throwback to a song earlier in the album. And the song Monster, which was one of the single releases off the album, it's easily one of the best, and it's a lot of people's favorites. I believe that the narrative is about being in a toxic relationship and being aware that you are one of the people that's adding to the toxicity of the relationship. It's one of the more different sounding songs on the album musically. The pre-chorus has like this kind of screeching guitar riff, and then once it goes into the chorus, it has chanty vocals, but it doesn't come off feeling cheesy or cliche at all. The bridge also has one of the nastiest riffs on the whole album, and there's also a guitar solo in the song, which I'm not really that big a fan of guitar solos and metalcore music, just because it doesn't seem like it ever belongs there. It feels so forced, and it just doesn't add to the song. But in this case, for this song, it fits it so perfectly. It feels like it belongs there. Like if it wasn't there, it feels like it would be empty. The song How I Fall Apart also has a guitar solo, and the same thing. It fits so well. It's not way over the top. It doesn't feel forced. It fits the song, and it feels like it belongs there. The song also has one of the coolest intros. It's very ethereal and atmospheric. And the lyrics in the song are very emotional and kind of painful, especially in the chorus. The song gets away with having tons and tons of emotion without it being like crazy melodramatic and even emo. Another thing this band is really good at is just keeping the energy going throughout the song. So many times in metal, they start out with a really heavy riff that gets you pumped and gets your head going. And then as soon as the intro cuts out and it goes into the verse, it just all dies out. And there's just like this tiny little bit of guitar music, some like epic, very, very cliche, way overdone drum passage with vocals. And it's just, it's been done so many times. It's something that I like to call the Nirvana effect or the Teen Spirit effect. Like in the song Teen Spirit, when the song starts out, it's got that kick-ass intro and the riff that everybody knows, and then as soon as it gets to the verse with the vocals, it cuts out, and then you just get this down with drums and Kurt Cobain singing. And they try and duplicate that a lot of times in metal, especially like metalcore, and it just falls flat, and the song loses all of its energy. And Currents have mastered the ability to not lose their energy. Like on the song Origins, it starts out with this really fast riff that gets your head bobbing, it gets your energy going, and then it cuts out as soon as the vocals come in, but it doesn't lose its energy because the riff gets replaced by the vocals. The vocals are now bringing the aggression and keeping you on your toes the whole time. There's even some synthy kind of music going on in the song, but the vocals are so addicting and catchy, and it's got a good hook to it, and they know how to do it without sounding generic and, like I said, just losing that energy. And they do that in majority of these songs. Like on the song Split, they did the same exact thing, and they were starting to lose me for a little bit in the verse. Like honestly, the song lost most of its energy once it went into the verse. It did that kind of effect. But then halfway through the verse, instead of getting to the pre-chorus, the chorus, or whatever, halfway through, the energy came back when I wasn't expecting it. And I was like, hell yeah. On the closing song, Better Days, the verses have this chimey guitar with clean vocals. And by this time, I was getting just kind of used to it. I wasn't like all that wowed by it anymore. But then when the pre-chorus comes in, there's this piercing arpeggio, which hasn't been done yet on the album, which again caught me off guard, mixed with the dirty vocals. It just brings in so much aggression, and like it just surprises you. And the song to me was about redemption and freedom, and all these chains of just things holding you down emotionally are laying on the ground next to you, and now you're free of all this stuff. And it's a great closing song. Even the guitar work in the outro has this very zippy, complex stuff to it. And like I said, it isn't a song that sounds like all the other songs, and it brings a good closing feel. You get a lot of closure in this song. Really, the only things that I didn't like about this album is the riff variety, which there isn't a whole lot of. So like a lot of the guitar work from song to song can become pretty monotonous. And even though their song structure is pretty fresh sounding and it isn't that common, considering it happens throughout most of the album, it kind of becomes watered down after a while. And the song Poverty to Self is probably the most generic sounding song on the album musically, but then when it comes to the vocals, it's one of the more unique because it has like these deathcore, guttural, super deep and low, can't even understand what he's saying vocals, which, like, even though the music isn't really all that great and all that different, it makes the entire song different just because the vocals aren't like anything else on the album. And the songs kind of trick you in a way. Like, a song will start out and it'll be slow and you think it's just going to be like their slow song on the album that's atmospheric, all clean singing. It's going to be their emotional, like, groundbreaking, this is the song that gets anybody into them kind of thing. But majority of the time, it's not like that at all. It starts out slow and then randomly halfway through the verse, it gets heavy, or in the pre-chorus, it gets heavy. And even though it has like this fresh feeling to it, and it really isn't all that common, and the vocal isn't really all that common, when you're listening to it, you're like, oh, it's kind of like the last song that they did, or the one before that. And then the next song comes on, and you can kind of guess how it's going to go. It might throw you off a little bit, but at the same time, you're not really all that surprised. So with all that said, I got to give The Way It Ends by Currents a 7.3 out of 10. I found this album really hard to rate, mostly because when I was going through it and I was writing my review and I was reading the lyrics and didn't have anything else around me to take my attention off of the music and the lyrics and everything, I enjoyed this album a lot. But when I was listening to it in the car or when I was playing video games, it was easy for me to not really pay attention. It wasn't grabbing me. It wasn't demanding my attention. Even after writing this review, I listened to the album again today while I was working out, and I completely zoned out. I wasn't really paying attention to it at all. And like halfway through my workout, I was like, what song am I even on? And I looked and I was on song like 9. And I was like, holy crap, I already went through the whole album, which doesn't happen very often. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's my ADD setting in, and maybe just at this time, anything I listened to, I would have drowned out. But I want to know what you guys think. If you've listened to The Way It Ends, leave a comment below letting me know what you thought. If you haven't listened to it yet, go ahead and give a couple songs a listen, especially Monsters and Kill the Ache. Those are some great songs, and let me know what you would rate it. And if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you happen to be a Currents fan and you didn't enjoy it, go ahead and give it a thumbs down. But leave a comment letting me know why you would either rate the album higher or lower. And I hope you guys all have a great day, and it continues to be great. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to watch my video. It means a lot to me, and I will see you guys next time. I was